No, there's so many people on.
I can't believe I'm looking at the number. I need to switch the number off. Exciting. Oh, welcome everybody. It's so beautiful to have you with us. Wow, 116 participants. Oh my goodness gracious me, what a delight to see you all here tonight. A very, very warm welcome to everybody. My name is Jane Sydenham Clark and I am Skyline's Chief Executive Officer, and it is such a joy to be able to help lead our organisation in this extraordinary time. This is so not the experience we were planning for our 2020 annual reception. I want to say some preliminary words and then it will be my absolute delight to hand you to our MC, the beautiful Heba Blair from Yea High School, struggling with her year 12, but as you will see tonight, she has everything so well in hand. It is a joy. We were planning to be at UBS in their beautiful offices, and I'm so grateful to Kelvin Barry, who's just sent me a text in the last minute to say he was absolutely planning to be here, but extraordinary circumstances have arisen. But Erin may be in the room, and perhaps Callum or Caroline, AK and Pete, who had so much planned for us tonight. So thank you for everything you had intended. It's my pleasure to acknowledge our Skyline leaders, our board, our chair, Katrina Raynan, Alistair Mitten, Alison Gibson, Bev Brock, Dr. Elizabeth Hartnell-Young, Jasmine Azobi, Wendy Benici, and of course our company secretary, Cameron March. Our patrons, Professor Kwong Dow, who sends his warm apologies. Justice Lex Lazary, who will absolutely be talking with us later on, and thank you, Lex. Dr. Dale Sujit, Tina Reddrop, Peter Arbonitis, and Ella Stonia Watson. And of course, our ambassador, the Right Reverend, the Honourable Dr. Peter Hollingworth. We're here tonight to appreciate our Skyline community, our donors, our students, our alumni, our partners, our board, our staff, our volunteers, everybody who is part of this incredible community called Skyline. I sincerely acknowledge my wonderful and dedicated colleagues, Karen, David, Leah, Annie, Nancy, Rachel, Kirsty and Andrew, for your immense contribution, not only to this event, but also individually and collectively to all the progress we have made, often beyond expectation, in helping to lead Skyline to make the progress and the impact that we're experiencing and we'll talk about tonight. Don't worry, I'm not going to be asking you to do anything too onerous tonight, but to enjoy what we have planned for the next 75 minutes or so. And that will be our MC from Yea High School, Heba Blair from Year 12. We will then have acknowledgement of country from our fabulous alumni, graduates of the class of 2019, Darcy Aylen and Stephen Barton. Our chair, Katrina Raynan, will then reflect on the year and with our alumni community leaders, Shahila and Adrian, celebrate our extraordinary companion teachers. And we have two to speak with us tonight, Kate Burton from Kyneton High School and also Scott Aldous from Northern Bay Secondary College. Our patron Lex Lazary will then talk to us, reflecting on his friendship with our founder, John Cheetham. And he will introduce our alumni, Sonia and Abdi, who will share their stories and the impact that Skyline has had on them. And then Heba will introduce two of her students, her peers from Year 12, Lily from Surf Coast Secondary College and Gav from Roxburgh Park. I'll be writing afterwards to you to personally express my appreciation and to thank you for your support and your contribution and ask you to continue that contribution. Now, in the midst of pandemic, more than ever, Skyline is intensely needed. Our students and alumni are even more vulnerable, and we are here to wrap around them and to create the scaffolding that's required to empower them to realise their dreams. Already, our Skyline community has stepped forward to support in this challenging period, and I'm so very grateful to you all, particularly to the Baker Foundation, and so lovely to see you, Rob and Trevor, here tonight, to the Dawn Wade Foundation. I'm so appreciative, Daryl, and your family. I'm so grateful to your mother. and to the Eva and Les Erdy Humanitarian Fund. Thanks to them and others, along with our extraordinary directors and our hard-working staff, we've been able to be agile and to pivot, and we've established the Skyline COVID-19 Fighting Fund. We've transitioned to remote operations and to digital service delivery to ensure that our students and alumni's safety and well-being as much as possible is protected in the context of the pandemic. We've not shied away. In fact, we've stepped up and we've leaned in to this challenge. We are iterating, and what you will see tonight, please forgive us in advance. We are not perfect. We are not polished, but we are authentically and generously doing the best we can for our people. You will notice if you're on an iPad device tonight, in terms of not being polished, that you may have some challenges with regard to sizing. So we encourage you to stay in gallery mode if you do have issues. Skyline is a community that's characterised by kindness, and we see this manifest in so many ways every day, like the way in which our students and our alumni care for each other, and like how our alumni pay it forward in supporting students to come into our transformational program. We see it as with our extraordinary partner, Mecca, and thank you, Joe and Michelle, Leela and team, not only empowering our girls through program positions, but also supporting their employment opportunities, and even by sending our girls beautiful gift boxes at Christmas time. And we see it as just now in pandemic, as example by the wonderful Tina and Michael Redrop, who not only support positions and a new program in the northeast of Victoria, but are also sending beautiful Easter eggs to our gifts, to our students and to their alumni as we celebrate Easter. And another example is Justin May, who's so generously responding to our students' needs just in the last week, gifted her pre-loved computers to ensure that our students could remain connected during this working at home in social isolation period. Some quick housekeeping before I hand you to our MC for the formalities. Please turn your mobile phones off. Please turn your lights on so we can see you. It will actually get quite dark. We'll be recording the reception so we can share it. And please share. Please share with us tonight. Please find the chat function on your screen and actively contribute. We'd love to hear from you. Please use your reactions options as well. Lots of thumbs up or clapping would be really great. And feel free to applaud or to cheer as the sentiment takes you. If you haven't as yet, please connect with us on Facebook and LinkedIn and receive our monthly e-newsletter so we can share news about our students and our alumni and the experiences that they're having. If we were at UBS now, we'd be having a drink and some beautiful food together. So those of us over 18 will be enjoying a lovely glass of wine from Bay Wines and also from our wonderful patron Tina Redrop and Michael. So please still raise your glasses with us and settle in for an experience with Skyline. And now to commence our official proceedings, to acknowledge country, it's with great pleasure that I introduce from the class of 2019, our brilliant Skyline alumni, Darcy Aylan first, and then Stephen Barn. Thank you, Darcy.
And custodians of the many different lands that we meet on today. For me, this is the Wadawurrung area. On behalf of the Skyline Foundation and everyone else here today, I pay my respects to the elders past, present and future. I would like to emphasise the lasting effects that colonisation has had on our Indigenous peoples. Connecting with my heritage has been so difficult due to the destruction of documentation and the kidnapping of Aboriginal children, and has left me and my family disconnected from our heritage. I encourage everyone to take a minute to appreciate the land and resources that we have, and that this land was not given to us but taken. The Indigenous peoples of Australia never ceded their sovereignty. It is our responsibility to protect and preserve our land and resources for the generations to come, just as those before us have. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. And Stephen?
I also begin by acknowledging that we come together on the land of our traditional owners and custodians. I am standing on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. On behalf of everyone present, I am proud to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. As an Australian whose family came from a migrant background, it is important that we understand and learn the importance of Aboriginal culture. Growing up in Australia, I was not taught about our first people not until high school. That still upsets me today. We cannot ignore what happened, but as active citizens, we must learn and understand our incredible Aboriginal culture and continue to preserve it into the future, as this was, is, and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy and Stephen. 2019 was a big year with many innovations in enriching our Skyline experience for our high ability students and alumni. We congratulate our 2019 graduates and we celebrate our Ducks Long Lee, who, with alumna Ivy, was welcomed into Telstra thanks to Louisa Donovan, Peter Petanatos and Matthew Hobbs. Thanks also go to our Rachel Curtis and Annie Harper for their hard work in making this possible. Long and Ivy were supported in a week's learning experience, developing their entrepreneurial, tech and project management career opportunities. I'd now like to share with you a look into their amazing experience. We're so grateful to you, Louisa, Peter and Matthew at Telstra for the generous contribution you've made to Long and Ivy's learning. And it is now my pleasure to introduce to you our MC for this evening from Yay High School. Please give it up for our Heba Blair.
MC this evening. I'm a Year 12 student at Yay High School and I'm a proud member of the Skyline family. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you a bit about me and how I came to join Skyline. My story begins with my amazing mother, who is truly the definition of the world's greatest mum. She arrived in Australia in the 1990s with her 3 siblings with no money at all in her pockets. My mum faced many adversities in her life, one of them being a single mother raising me and my sisters alone. Though there were challenges in our life, she taught us many things, such as being hopeful in dire times and that education is the most powerful weapon, as Nelson Mandela preached. This is why, as soon as I heard about Skyline, I knew I had to sign up. Little did I actually expect I would get it. Skyline to me has meant so many things. It's a place of belonging, and it's a place where I know I'm cared for by both students and staff. It's a place where various opportunities are given to our students that we couldn't get anywhere else. With the help of Skyline and the ethics and morals both Skyline and my family taught me, I hope to pursue a career in the Australian Federal Police after earning my bachelor's degree. Skyline is filled with so many amazing things, and one of the amazing things is our board of 7 directors. Our board brings so much expertise and generosity to our family. Our board is chaired by a woman whose time on the board spans over a decade and is a role model to us all. Ladies and gentlemen, Katrina Raynan.
Look, welcome to our annual celebration with our Skyline family. Special welcome to our students, past and present, but also for so many of you in the room that have been here pretty much since the start of this program. It's one of the great privileges of being in this role that we can spend this time together and celebrate our past year and reflect on the role in particular of companion teachers this time. We're really in a very extraordinary time in education. Having had a whole career in it, I've never seen anything like it. We're continually inspired and moved by our incredible students who start the rest of their lives from where they are, not where they might be, and in fact, not where they should be if life were fair. And they follow their education dreams through hard work and determination and the support Skyline provides. During the pandemic we're living with right now and the shadow it casts over our whole planet, we've got so much to celebrate this year. With your help, we graduated our largest ever cohort of Year 12 students in 2019, and these 41 graduates continued our story of success against the odds. 97% of them are going on to a higher education course or employment pathway of their choice. And we introduced a program to help our alumni as they transition into first year university and beyond. We also celebrate this evening because of the Skyline community spirit. We see alumni giving back to the next generation of students, freely supporting each other. We see more and more people becoming part of the broader Skyline family and feeling the same pride and connection to our students as we do. And we see some of our key donors proactively reaching out to us to see how they can help us, providing essential funding, advocacy for students, access to scholarships, books, even food for our Skyline families. April's been a long year, hasn't it? The inspirational Maya Angelou said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we rarely admit the changes it's gone through to achieve that beauty." Change is difficult. I'm all about finding a silver lining and making the most of things. But, sorry, I've got a poll up. But our students are doing it tough, both in their school lives and at home at the moment, and we're hearing it very clearly. Online learning, this learning from home, is fine for many students who've got the resources and space at home to make it workable. For some of our students though, school is the safest place to be. For others, it's the only place where they have the space to focus and learn. More students than you realise don't even have the basic technology and access and connectivity to learn. I would say that the digital divide we've been talking about for a decade is growing, and the cracks are appearing at that pressure point where social isolation is meeting social disadvantage. I'm particularly concerned about the emerging racism that some of our Asian students are experiencing as they go about their lives. And most worryingly, some students are experiencing increasing loneliness, lack of motivation, and even greater financial pressure on their families. And then there's the uncertainty about ATARs and the future of beyond VCE. For Skyliners, this is really important because this is the year that's designed to give them a step out of their disadvantage. They're really trying hard to grasp the opportunity and change their lives, but the pathway is just not as clear as it was. And one thing that's been really interesting is that being away from the physical school ground itself seems to have an ongoing impact in terms of social support and peer connection. As Jane mentioned before, at Skyline, we pivoted our services quickly to be responsive to the need to connect with our students and alumni. And I must say that having online access to each other is proving to be a game changer. These students are sharing their fears and anxieties with each other and finding others who give them back unreserved acceptance and support. As many of us see our own children struggling in isolation at home, we see them missing their friends. And I wonder if we all really knew before this era of social isolation, the vital role that schools play in terms of face-to-face support of wellbeing and social and emotional development. Some people who certainly do know this firsthand are Skyline's companion teachers, and I'm delighted that we have the chance tonight to highlight their work, to showcase their part of the Skyline success story and the impact they have on young lives. We've been looking at a couple of comments back from our students as I've been talking, but Skyline is a wraparound program for a network of like-minded peers. The main education occurs in each of our partner schools though, and there's around 25 to 30 of those. Our companion teachers are the ones who bring the Skyline opportunity to students in the first place. Then they check in on the welfare and individuals on a regular basis, and they really are the unconditional support for their education. So in our mind, they all stand out as being special. So tonight, I'd like to pay tribute to our companion teachers and acknowledge a couple of CTs, companion teachers, that deserve special recognition. I thought for a while about how to describe the impact and value, but I think that yet again our students say it best, and I quote one of our students: "My companion teacher is kind to herself, to others, and everything in her life. She knows when to listen, when to give advice, and when all that's needed is just somebody to sit with that I love. I love that she knows me almost more than I know myself, and that she leads by example. I feel I can be 100% honest with her." It's now my great pleasure to introduce Adrian and Shahila. They are two very special young people. They're graduates of Skyline over the last couple of years, and now they give back tirelessly to the next generation of VCE students and alumni. They've been elected by their peers as Skyline alumni co-leaders. So I'm going to ask them now, starting with Adrian, to share their stories about the role the companion teachers played in their journey to their successful education outcomes. Adrian, what can you tell us about your companion teacher? This happens on the ABC TV too, you know, it's not just us.
Okay, so I can't hear you, Adrian. In that case, I'll just quickly, I'll do a quick intro into his wonderful little moment. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Shahila, and along with the wonderful Adrian, I am one of the Skyline alumni relations leaders. As you may have noticed, and you'll see today, the Skyline community is composed of many, many important individuals that each play a really unique and pivotal role in the Skyline experience for us. This year, we're highlighting the dynamic and empowering role of companion teachers in the everyday lives of Skyliners. Of us, really, of me. My companion teacher was now Assistant Principal Sophia Demirova from Melbourne Girls College. And she inspired a lot of growth and encouraged a lot of growth in me that I never would have been able to facilitate myself. But she also directed me to Skyline. Whole reason my background is covered in lovely plants is not just because I'm an aspirational plant mother, it's because Skyline inspired growth in me. And hopefully, Adrian's mic will be working.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. I did the careless mistake of changing my headset last minute. Well, it is through the ongoing encouragement, emotional and academic support, and the cultivation of safe spaces that we Skyliners realize our true potential and achieve our aspirations. I know, Katrina, you asked me earlier, I know if it wasn't for the support that I received from late Mr. Frank Locko, my vice principal and companion teacher at Keysborough Secondary College, I would not be where I am today. On behalf of Skyline students and alumni, we would like to extend a warm thank you to all of our companion teachers, past and present, for the role you actively play in the lives of our current students and continue to play for us alumni. I would love to now introduce one of our phenomenal companion teachers, Kate Burton from Kyneton High School.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. I did the maths and I've taught somewhere in the vicinity of 2,500 students. And in my different roles, I've known a lot of other students. I've been passionate about what I teach, but the other passion I have is actually helping students make that transition into the next phase of their lives. Fortunately, in a partnership with Skyline, some of our talented students have been provided with many benefits and opportunities that will help them on their way. I've heard many stories of the Skyline students from other schools, not just mine, and I am inspired by their grit and determination. The Skyline family is a significant one for the students, just as parents are a significant influence. And I think having a significant teacher is also important. And I'm sure you've all had a significant teacher in your lives at some point. And for me, this has been one of the most rewarding things, and it can't get better than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Kate's actually been assistant principal at Kyneton High School for 13 out of 24 years that she was there, and she's just recently retired. What's wonderful about Kate's involvement is that she turns up to every single Skyline event, no matter what time of the day or night, travelling to and from Kyneton by train every time. You're absolutely inspirational, Kate. Thank you so much. The other inspirational teacher, companion teacher that I'd like to introduce is the wonderful Scott Aldous, and it's his birthday today. So I'm just going to take 3 minutes and sing happy birthday. No, I'm not.
Go on.
He's a teacher at Northern Bay College, and he's been involved for the last 3 years or so. When Skyline asks students to choose a companion teacher who'll become their primary liaison, they pick Scott because they say he's everything you want as a liaison between your school, Skyline, and each other. He's a true empath. He understands and cares for his students, and he's just wonderful. And Scott, can I invite you now just to tell you a little bit about what being a CT means to you?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Cool, excellent. I'll try not to ramble here a little bit, but I thought I'd just give a little bit of background on myself to start with. So, as I said, I teach at Northern Bay College, which is located in Corio in Geelong. I don't often talk about this, and most of the kids that are watching today probably won't even know this, but I actually have a quite long history with Corio because my gran grew up, when I was growing up, my gran lived there for over 20 years before she passed away. When we were picking our backgrounds today, I actually put this Garfield up in the background because she hand sewed it for me. So it's interesting for me because I've sort of been in and out of the neighborhood. I've never lived there, but I spent a lot of time there growing up, and I have a lot of really like positive memories there of like my gran and pop taking me to the village to go and look at the pet store, of Mother's Day, of Father's Day, of Christmases and things like that. And for me, I have a lot of positive memories in the neighborhood. I started working at Northern Bay about 5 or 6, this would be my 6th year now, so about 5 years ago. And I got the call up there from a CRT agency who were offering me basically a couple of weeks of work. And what they said to me at the time, and this sentence has floated around my head, I reckon, at least once a week, probably for at least 5 years. As we were finishing the call, they said, yeah, you'll be okay out there. The kids are a little rough. So I went out there, you know, wondering what I'd be in for, thinking to myself, hey, I spent a lot of time in this neighborhood and I never found it that bad. And I got into my classroom on the first day and I was really surprised to find kids, normal kids who like to learn, kids who really want to excel and be excellent, kids who just get through the classroom day to day, kids that sometimes do present with complicated issues, but nothing that you wouldn't see like from any other school I've really taught at so far. And so for me, so for the first couple of years, I just went in thinking that, you know, these are normal kids that we work with. And then I got involved with the Skyline Companionship Program and specifically with some of the roles around identifying our students at year 10 and working out the ones who we think might have the potential to get to Skyline. And to do that, you have to help them with their applications. And then you get to see everything that's actually going on in their lives. And I realized, in a weird way, I had it wrong. You read through these stories of these just incredible kids working through just some of the most horrific circumstances to have to go through. And they're kids that don't just want to get through their days. They want to excel. They want to put their best versions of themselves out to the world and give back. So I look at that and I realized that I was wrong at that time. Our kids aren't really normal kids either. To deal with what they deal with and to still present what they present to us, they're superhuman. So that's sort of the way I see it. And I'm really honored that Skyline would acknowledge my work. I'm really honored that they'd give me time to speak today. I'm really flattered that people look at the work I do with these kids and they think, wow, this is tremendous and it really helps them. But for me, in a really weird way, it's never felt like work. It's just kind of felt like a natural extension of what I would want to be doing with my career, if that makes sense. So I guess really what I'm trying to get at here is thank you for having me up here, but mostly to my Skyline, well, not just to my Skyline students, but to all of the Skyline students watching, thank you for being just the incredible people that you are. It's really my honor to get to deal with you on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Interesting.
Well, I can tell you what, it's definitely our honour to work with you too, Scott, in our best version of the CET. This year's different. This year's different for all of us in schools. We keep saying it's unprecedented, and we all keep then saying we're never going to say unprecedented again. But we're going to go back to school life pretty quickly, I hope, and we're going to get back into education even quicker. So to my board of fellow directors, Wendy Benici, Bev Brock, Alison Gibson, Dr. Elizabeth Hartnell-Young, Jasmine Izob, Alastair Merton, and Cameron March, our company secretary. I thank you for another year of incredible support, passion, and time invested in assisting this program to grow in a sustainable and agile manner. No one really sees what you do, but we can see tonight the impact of all of those hours of support, expertise, and hard work. And to our amazing Skyline team, what can I say? Jane, Annie, David, Karen, Rachel, Nancy, Kirsty, and Leah. You make us so proud because you believe so much in what you do. You believe in the students, and you're a team of true professionals. Through this time of pandemic, Jane has demonstrated incredible leadership in her actions, which have been acknowledged right across the not-for-profit sector, and the team has responded beautifully. Thank you all for your unwavering dedication and professionalism. There's no doubt that Skyline is in safe and caring hands in this next decade. And to our ambassador, our patrons, donors, and all our supporters, I sincerely hope you know just how important you are in the lives of these young people and what a difference you're making. Your generosity is enabling young people with some pretty major obstacles in their lives to dream big. Mayor Angelo also said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, will forget what you did, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. Thank you all again for your commitment to these incredible young people, our Skyliners, for the way it makes them feel strong, connected, empowered, supported, and loved. Thank you all. Heba.
Thank you, Katrina. I know that my companion teacher has such an impact on my year 12, and they're always checking up on me, and I don't know what I'll do about them. Skyline is filled with such amazing leaders, including our amazing patrons. Tonight, it is my honour to introduce you to the man who was best mates with our founder, John Cheetham, and a judge of the Criminal Division of the Supreme Court of Victoria. A man who has also seen the result of missed opportunity and the tragedy when young people take part in criminal acts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Skyline's patron, Justice Lazary AM AC.
Thank you, Heba. If we're in a room together tonight, I'm confident I'd be the oldest person in the room, perhaps apart from Dr. Peter Hollingworth. I hope he's here and listening. My connection, and I might say that's a dangerous category to be in these days, being the oldest person in the room. So we stay at home as much as we can. My connection with Skyline goes back to at least 15 years ago, because as Heba said, I was at school with John Cheetham. We were friends at school, and two of the more troublesome students in the classes that we sat in the 1960s. And I'm very proud of my connection with John, who sadly died of cancer in March of 2009. He was, on any view, a man with a passion for education. He ran a professional business which was called the Student Achievement Centre. He believed in assisting young people to ensure that they maximised their potential. And obviously that's what Skyline is all about. At the time that John approached me to participate, I was at the criminal bar in Victoria, and then in 2007 became a judge of the Supreme Court. And of course, I see a totally different side of life from the optimistic side of life that we see paraded through the Skyline Foundation. Young people with an education that peters out at year 9 or 10, part-time job perhaps, experimentation with drugs, other associates in the minor criminal sphere, then youth justice, then adult prison, then more drugs, then more serious crime. And it's a cycle that, of course, organisations like Skyline try to break in as many cases as they can, because much of this is about missed opportunity. there are an alarmingly high number of people under the age of 30 with a history of disadvantage and alcohol or substance abuse. As well as that, I've sat in a number of cases involving children, that is, children legally under the age of 17 committing serious criminal offences, where for one reason or another I've been asked to review the role of the Children's Court. And it's depressing work when you see children of that age feeling already alienated and disenfranchised. It's why my connection with Skyline is so valuable to me, because it's very much the other side of the coin. It's very much the optimism that people who work in the criminal justice system like to think about. The loudest voices in the community, as they say, never criticise an organisation that buys ink in industrial quantities, are the tabloid newspapers. We're regularly called upon, both by the tabloid newspapers and by governments, to impose heavier sentences, particularly on violent offenders. And that's happened. In Victoria now, there are 8,000 people in custody. Almost half of those will return after their initial release. Importantly and relevantly for Skyline, at the moment there are 861 young people in custody. That is, young people between the ages of 17 and 24. These are alarming statistics, and the stories behind each and every one of those people is a complete justification for Skyline and the enthusiasm of the people who support it. The real solutions are not about criminal justice and punishment so much as social solutions of the kind that Skyline offers. Because Skyline has so much to offer to people with talent, with a desire to work, with a desire to achieve, and perhaps not quite having the opportunities that others of us had over the years. The result of Skyline's work is, of course, an investment not just in the individual student, but it's an investment for the community because of the contribution that these young people make to the community. Not attracted by criminal activity, but attracted by a life of achievement and contribution to the community, becoming educated and motivated. And we are the beneficiaries. We, the older members of the community, of course, are the beneficiaries of their efforts, which means in turn we are very much the beneficiaries of the efforts of all those people who so selflessly contribute to this organisation. When you look at the way Skyline has developed since I first became involved 15 years ago, see the size of it, see the spread of it, see the enthusiasm, see the numbers of people who are now willing to contribute and support Skyline. It's a very, very proud connection that I have, and I'm very pleased to be a patron of the organisation. It's traditional, I think, for me to invite people at this reception to basically empty their pockets in our direction. You should contribute to Skyline whenever you can, in any way you can, because as you can see from, not from what I'm saying, but as you can see from what's put before you, from the alumni of Skyline, this is an enormously valuable resource. You should support it. Thank you very much, Eva. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Sonia, who's a law student who's going to tell her story.
Thank you very much, Lex. Good evening, all board members, donors, alumni, students, and all supporters of Skyline. My name is Sonia Alashka, and I'm a 2018 Skyline and Lindau Secondary College graduate. I hope everyone is keeping safe through these difficult and uncertain times. As some of you may not know me, a general introduction about myself. I'm a second-year university student, first year at Monash University in fact, studying a double degree of law and arts. Since the age of 15, I've always been working at least 2 jobs at one time in order to assist my parents with living expenses, support myself, and to ease the financial burden on my family as much as possible. I will always remember the day when the senior coordinator approached me in the school hallways in Year 10 and first introduced to me what I now consider to be a second family, which is the Skyline Foundation Australia. Being a Skyliner has enabled me access to educational, emotional, and financial support that guided me through the difficult journey of BCE and continues to provide a community-like connection. Through my involvement with Skyline, I've been privileged to be introduced to various inspiring leaders, educators, and individuals, and many of whom are amongst us tonight. I thank Skyline for recognising my academic ability and potential to succeed and enabling me to additionally recognise my value. Skyline has significantly altered my outlook on who I am as an individual and the life that I aspire to live. Through the workshops, camps, annual receptions, and even just the student group chats, my motivation was consistently higher, and I felt a sense of belonging to a support system unlike any I'd experienced before. The financial support that Skyline provides immensely reduced the stress of school fees my family and I were experiencing. Because of Skyline, I was able to cut back my hours at work, and rather than rushing from school to my late night shifts, I was able to allocate more time to study effectively and maintain my health and well-being during the 2 years that we call VCE. And the Skyline program does not end at the completion of VCE. Across the community, the bond developed with like-minded peers will be one that follows through to our tertiary and professional years. I'm forever grateful for the support that myself and my family received from this program, and I truly look forward to the day that I can hopefully stand at the annual reception 10, 20, and even 40 years from now and see this foundation continue to provide uncompromisable support to individuals and families in need.
Thank you very much, Sonia. And it's now my pleasure to introduce another alumni, Abdi, who will again tell his story and experience with Skyline. Thanks, Abdi.
Thank you, Lex. Appreciate that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nah, that's fine. Good evening, everybody. My name's Abdi. Longer name is Abdirahman. And as you may know, there's a lot of Abdi, so my nickname has always been Spider in the community and growing up. Yeah, because you'll come across, if you come across a lot of Somalis, you'll come across a lot of Abdis. But anyway, without further ado, firstly, I'm honored to be here tonight speaking on my story, and we'll try to speak to the effect the Skyline Foundation has had on me and my development. Even though words will not be enough to show how much of an effect the foundation has had on me, nevertheless, I will try. My journey starts in Somalia as it descends into civil war in 1991, forcing my mom, a vet by trade, to flee with me and my siblings to Kenya, which in itself is an amazing and extraordinary journey, one we don't have much time for today. We later settled in the Dadaab refugee camps, and some of my earliest memories are of a dusty land with little greenery in sight, waking up early just before dawn, making ablution, and walking to a mosque to perform the dawn prayers. After which we would go to Quran school, where we would learn, recite, and memorize the Quran. After that, we would go back to our houses, have breakfast, and our day would start with regular school and a full day ahead. And on some afternoons and other days where I would not have school, I would venture out with my older brother and boys from the area to take the livestock and go feed them in the bushes. Mostly goats to graze in the wilderness. On one such occasion, I experienced one of the most memorable moments of my life, where I was at the rear of the herd. I was no older than 7 years old at this point, bringing up a young goat that was straggling behind. And out of nowhere, on the left side, appeared a cheetah. And I think you heard that right. That snatches the young goat right in front of me by its throat. And this was something memorable for me, and that stayed with me for the rest of my life. That's just to set the scene. And then now fast forward to 2005, I'm in a completely different environment in year 10 at Demnis Park Secondary College. It's the concrete wild here, a school of hard knocks of sorts at that time. It was known for a lot of various things and violence and things like that, in an area with some of the highest crime rates in the country at the time. Now you can only imagine the many challenges faced by those growing up in such an environment. Up to this point, in class, I've been a brilliant student, but one that was forged by his environment to be a tough young man who would never back down and who wouldn't lose a challenge. And in that kind of environment, if you're seen as timid, naive, or a pushover, and if you don't have a patron or older cousin or brother to save you, then you're in trouble. And so this forced you to strengthen yourself up and to make sure that you weren't bullied or anything like that. It was in this year that I was very fortunate that my companion teacher saw great potential in me in terms of that I was doing very well in class. I was still getting into trouble outside of class, and she saw that I was at crossroads. And she encouraged me to apply for and receive the Skyline Foundation support, which would prove to be invaluable, not only for the financial support, but the guidance and lifelong learning provided by it. I can say that without a doubt, I would not have done as well as I did without the Skyline family support. Some of the longest lasting lessons I've learned throughout my life were from the Skyline Foundation. Those of making the right choices continually, and of course, the famous concept of working smarter, not harder. Concepts I promote in my many interactions with the youth today, in my various ventures. The many development sessions ran by the foundation equipped us with the skills and mindset to navigate not only education, but general life. And I'm forever grateful for that. Also, a great benefit and effect that was not so apparent at the time was the foundation's engagement and positive influence on my life. One that was a direct opposition to all the negative influences surrounding me at that point. Taking me out of that environment and introducing me to a new environment where I could see peers that were achieving for great, striving for greatness, and that wanted to improve their lives and be successful. In a time, and this was in a time where had I not been engaged through the foundation and steered and encouraged by the wonderful Skyline staff towards academic success, I would have undoubtedly ended up on the wrong path, a path of destruction, and one I've come to see that causes lifelong irreversible damage. A path that I've seen many of my friends, my teenage friends, embark on with lifelong effects. Now, fast forward to this day, and I am a clinical research associate, currently working for a global clinical research organization and drug development services company, organizing, administering, and monitoring clinical trials of neo-oncology drugs to assess the benefits and risks of using them. I have worked on a number of registrational immunotherapy drugs, which is at the forefront of the cancer war, which have now been approved for a number of cancers. In my time since Skyline, I've developed a passion for community and youth development. Seeing what the Skyline Foundation has done for me, I've wanted in turn to give that back to my community and the younger generations. And I'm currently the president of the Newmarket Phoenix soccer and basketball clubs, along with the Rising Phoenix Youth Development programs that run alongside them. A program designed to engage the youth through sports, something that they love, and then equip them and give them the environment that equips them with the skills and wisdom to succeed and thrive, and to have positive role models around them. I've been in that space now for almost a decade, and we have on average had over 100 young boys come through our programs. Finally, I've also developed a keen interest in business and business development, having run my own niche security business for a number of years, with plans to venture into other areas of business in the future. Now, I can safely say that I would not be the man I am today without Skyline. And I am forever grateful to the Skyline Foundation and family for their support during that pivotal period of my life. And the saying in Islam, and I'm quite a religious man now, it says, La yashkurullah, la yashkur nas, la yashkurullah, which means that whoever doesn't thank man or mankind doesn't thank God, if they are to be righteous. So I would like to again show my gratitude to the Skyline family. And I would like to take this opportunity to show gratitude to all the sponsors and staff that enabled the foundation to impact so many people's lives. Case in point is simply that supporting and nurturing a young, hot-headed man as myself, called Spider at the time. Not only has the foundation had a positive impact on me and my family directly, but it has also impacted on all the lives that I have in turn positively impacted since then. And I hope to continue to touch through the various ventures I've been involved in. I have come to believe, and this is in no little part due to my religious belief, that the most important thing in life is contemplating and understanding your purpose of life. And one of the highest of purposes is that of leaving a lasting positive impact on those around you, whether it be your own family, community, or the wider society. And it's not an overstatement to say that the Skyline Foundation has played a pivotal role in allowing me to strive for that purpose. Now, you may be thinking that it's a difficult journey to embark on. No, it's quite simple, and many of you already do it. You start off by leaving a positive impact first in your own families, then your communities, then the wider society, and then finally the world if the opportunity arises. I look back on some of the most profound statements that people have said to me that had a lasting impression. And one of them was from an old man in a mosque when I was in high school. This man barely spoke any English, and the few words that he said to me in English have had a lasting impact. And this was in a passing interaction that lasted no longer than 10 or so seconds. Originally, I didn't put this in my speech, but quite a few people have asked what that man what did that man say to me. So that day we came late to an afternoon prayer. Me and a group of friends, we showed up late to the prayer, and everybody had left the mosque, and he was one of the last to leave. And the prayer itself is called Asr. And what he said to me is that he reminded me of the importance of time, and he reminded me of the surah itself, which is called Al-Asr. It's the 103rd chapter in the Quran, and it's a surah with 3 verses. And the 3 verses go, Wal Asr, verily by time, the first verse, Innal insana lafi khusr, verily all of mankind is in loss. And so this was an amazing thing. Just this is a verse, a surah that I knew for decades, and by this man bringing it to my attention, I realized that time is one of the most important things that you have to take advantage of. And everybody's in loss if they don't take advantage of their time. That goes to show you never know who you can impact and how much you change their lives. From a simple passing conversation to volunteering at your local organizations or sports clubs or whatever, to funding brilliant programs like these. So please continue to get involved if you aren't already. If you are, continue to do the amazing work, and I hope the foundation continues its beautiful legacy for many generations to come. Thank you for having me. Oh, sorry, before I finish, just a quick message to the students and others who may benefit. Please continue to stay vigilant and work hard towards your goals, and don't be disheartened by any setbacks you face, because you'll be stronger for it. And notice that some of the setbacks you're facing this year will be quite unique. I'll just share an example with you that even after receiving the Skyline Foundation, I still had so much negative influences around me that in my year 12 year, we had inter-school sports. And now we're playing soccer, and there was a fight that broke out. I got involved in the brawl. My cousin was involved, and I lost my my judgment in that moment. I got involved in this fight. And I remember distinctly that year I got suspended for 4 weeks. This is in my year 12, yeah, for 4 weeks. And for the rest of the year, I wasn't allowed to have lunch with the rest of the classes. I nearly got expelled for that incident. And at that crossroad, when I got suspended for 4 weeks, I had a choice to make. It's either just you go home and you have fun like the other days you get suspended, you think, or like what the Skyline Foundation has taught me, you take advantage and you do what you can in that moment and with that setback. And so I remember I continued to study like I was in class every day for those 4 weeks. And when I came back, it was the mid-year exam, and I remember I received the top score in my school for chemistry, which was one of my mid-year subjects. But in any case, that was just a little reminder that, whenever you get any setbacks, you can always come back and bounce back and do better. So don't be disheartened by any of it. Secondly, surround yourself with good people. Learn from others and those who have more knowledge, experience, and are wiser. Finally, find your purpose. It may take you your whole life, but don't stop searching and enjoy the journey of life, the detours and all. And that's it for me. Thank you for having me.
Miba.
Thank you, Lex. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Lex, Sonia, and Abdi. I would now like to introduce Lily, a Year 12 from Surf Coast Secondary College. Please welcome her to share her story.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lily, as Heba said. I'm here at Surf Coast Secondary College in Torquay. And I was introduced to Skyline in Year 10, and my companion teacher approached me and just said, here, fill this out. It's this really great thing that's going to help a lot. So I just did it, and I did what she said, and I was just being a stubborn little teenager, and I was like, oh, fill this out. But then little did I know, it's actually spiraled into this huge thing that just influences my life every day and is something that you can hold on to, especially in times like this. I was introduced to Skyline just after I'd lost my mum to an aggressive battle with lung cancer that had actually metastasized to her brain. And it changed who I knew as my mother completely, but it also changed my whole perspective on life, and my life was uprooted. I had to move houses and it was a lot going on. And Skyline was just really there for me. They taught me how to accept help, which I can't explain how much that has been influential in who I am now. They taught me to harness my potential. They taught me that I even had potential, and to take every opportunity given to me, because you can go really far if you just stop saying no. And so through Skyline, I have been able to become school captain of my school. I got accepted into the Kwong Lee Dow Young Scholars Program at the University of Melbourne. And I am now the Regional Youth of the Year for the Lions Club. And I hope to study neuropsychology when I finish school, and I will hopefully be the first person in my family to graduate VCE and go to university. And my respect for those in the Skyline Foundation is just beyond what words can explain. It's immeasurable, and I really do hope to work closely with the foundation in the future to give back and to help out people in similar situations to me. Thanks.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much, Lily. That was beyond courageous of you to come up and tell your story. I know that a lot of people can't do that. Our next speaker tonight is Gav. He's a Year 12 student at Roxborough Secondary College. Please give him a warm welcome.
Woo! Good evening, everyone. As Heba said, my name is Gaurav Sursen, and I'm currently attending Roxborough College in Year 12. Thank you for supporting Skyline, and I want you to know Skyline is changing lives, and your support means more to me and my Skyline community than you guys actually realize. As a student of the program, even I myself have a lot of problems that impede on my education, and financially it is extremely difficult. Having the divorce of my parents, along with my immigrant stepmother's inability to find a job, makes things hard for us to make ends meet. If it weren't for my grandmother's pension, I'm not too sure if we would have a roof over our heads. If you have financial and other problems, your education will suffer, and you might need to leave school early to support yourself and your family, or you might not be able to focus on your studies at all. I applied to Skyline because, like Lily, my teacher told me to. He basically handed me a little booklet and told me to fill it out. He said it would help me be better, which was one of his favorite quotes. And this is where I joined Skyline after many, many interviews. I've learned that Skyline is an organization dedicated to supporting high potential VCE students to overcome their barriers, to stay in school and do well in VCE and go on to a career in university or wherever they wanted to follow. This changes lives, not only for the student, but also for the family. Not only that, the community and friends at Skyline are absolutely incredible. Everyone there is wonderful, and the amount of friends and people that I've managed to meet are all going to be lifelong. And I honestly don't know where I'd be without them. Skyline has helped me a lot, even more than just with my financial problems. They're helping me understand that there is a bigger world out there and they can help me access it. I'm not too sure how Skyline is equipping me for life, as well, I'm still in school and I haven't really experienced the life outside of school. But I know that everything they have taught me so far is going to be a great help for the future. Thank you for your support. And I hope you know that everything you guys have done have helped us a lot. And I hope for your continued support.
Thank you heaps, Gav, for that incredible speech. I would now like to invite Jane back onto the stage.
Heba, thank you. What a fantastic job. Hasn't she done a fantastic job, everybody? What a great job, Heba. Bravo. Please share your thoughts in the chat and let Heba know what a great job she's done and what a great job all of our students and alumni have done. And a shout out to Mal Paget for supporting Abdi with his production. Thank you. We're so grateful. So this time last year, we were having a very different experience at UBS's elegant offices at our 2019 annual reception with former Prime Minister Julia Gillard and our MC Malaz, who's with us here tonight, who at that time, like Heba, was tackling her year 12. Since then, much has unfolded for our Malaz, and thanks to generous support from our dedicated long-term supporter Robin Campbell and her wonderful family foundation, and thanks to the brilliance of filmmakers Walking Fish introduced by our friends at Trinity College at Melbourne Uni, Malaz has shared her story with us. It is with heartfelt appreciation to Malaz and her beautiful family, and with so much pleasure that for the very first time we bring you Malaz's story. Just, yeah, good.
My parents migrated to Australia in the 90s and they moved into these flats. My world has just always been with us together and this like sense of like a little bubble of community. Growing up, I remember I was a shy kid. I was really, really quiet. And I never put my hand up for anything in class. You would almost always find me in a book. I didn't do much apart from go to school, do my work and come home. That was just my world and it was great.
This is when she was in kinder.
And this one in Melbourne Shore.
For most of my life, we've relied on like a single parent income. When you rely on a single income for a family, especially a family of what now 6, 5 at the time, it's a lot. I never felt like I missed out on anything, but I think I was always just conscious that, you know, you were always a little bit worried about it. And so we've always relied on things like, you know, Centrelink and things like that. And I think that it definitely helps to have like something else coming in as well. Recently, so I think in year 10, my mum had another little baby. Because I was a little bit older, I could also help out with her. So working, taking care of my siblings whenever I could, and studying every night, all night, I just had to like keep working really hard. I remember telling my parents when I applied for it, I was like, look, this could mean that, you know, VC wouldn't have to pay any of the fees and things like that. And they'll never say this, but I think it was just a bit of a like, great, because we've got 2 other kids who are going into school and like books and textbooks are not the cheapest thing around. A few weeks later, I found out that I was in the program. Telling them that I got it was fantastic because it was just a bit of a cool, we don't have to worry about you financially like for the next 2 years. And I think that was all I thought it was at the start. I remember going to the camp. I remember being like so scared of everything because I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know who was going to be there. But I think it was probably like the best 3 days ever because it was an insanely amazing program. It's really there to make sure that you have the best opportunities, you're linked up with the people who, you know, in areas of that you're passionate about, and to make sure that you have a group of people who are outside of school and outside of home who are able to give you that support whenever you need it. They're genuinely a phone call away and will do whatever they can in their power to make sure that you feel like you're being supported and you feel like you have the best opportunities to do what you want to do. You just don't know what you need sometimes and you don't know what you want, and they're able to just open all these doors and say, pick at it, choose, let's help you get there. I remember telling my dad, and he had a bit of a and then he called my mum, and then within about like 10 minutes, I think my whole family, and I'm talking like aunts, uncles, knew, which is like very impressive for like my family. And by the end of the day, like people who like genuinely, when I say this, the Eritrean community knew about it, and I hadn't even had like half the day to process. See, mum's got to have one now. And because like it is a first, and I'm the first in my family to ever now have the prospects of going into university and doing like a bachelor's degree, and I'm very, very excited for it. It sort of still feels a little bit surreal, like it doesn't feel like it's all that real, but I think that I'm pretty happy with where I am at so far. I'm very privileged to have had the opportunity to be a part of a program like Skyline and to have had the support from them. And I think that right now is sort of where I'm meant to be.
Thank you, Milaz. Thank you to your family, and thank you to you for sharing your incredible story with us. Skyline's impact relies on generous supporters, and I hope that tonight has shown that your support in whatever way is very well placed and is contributing to transforming lives as the legacy of our founder, John Cheetham, lives on. Finally, I salute my colleagues for all that you have done, not only for tonight. Karen, David, Andrew, Annie, Rachel, Nancy, Leah, Kirsty. I'm really, really grateful. We did it.
You did.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes formalities. On behalf of Skyline's inspirational students and alumni, thank you and good evening.